I'm James.
And I'm True.
And these are the last 20 days.
There's this gigantic bus going down the street, and it's like, prepare for the last, whatever, the world's going to end on May 21st, and go to this website. Well, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what this is. I have no idea what it is, what it's about. I don't care. I don't want to see it on the news, anything.
And that's sort of like, why be interested in this whole thing that could just be a scam? Like, I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is.
Yes.
I think it is. Like, I don't know.
I mean, this guy is asking, well, not asking for money, but he has people, like, throwing their life away.
People are giving
People are giving this guy money to fund this caravan expedition across the United States. The Rapture Judgement Day, the newest episode of The Current, Harold Camping, a Christian radio broadcaster in Oakland, California, has launched a billboard campaign to warn the world that the Rapture, the beginning of the biblical story of the end of the world, is less than 3 weeks away, May 21st to be precise. We find out why his organization believes the date is coming and why his campaign is generating such a fierce backlash.
Hello, I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. This is the Friday edition of The Current.
It's going to be a horror story that we absolutely cannot conceive of. Millions of people will die on that day and every day thereafter. And it's this kind of conversation of what will we do the next day. That doesn't make, it's nonsense. It's utter nonsense because it is going to happen.
That is Harold Camping, founder of Family Radio, a Christian radio network in the United States. And the event he's talking about is the Rapture, or Judgment Day, which some believe marks the beginning of the end of the world. Camping says that day is almost upon us, as I mentioned, May 21st, and his group is on a mission to tell the world about it. You may have seen the billboards his group has mounted across the United States and in parts of Canada, warning passers-by that the end is near. Gunther Von Harringa, for one, is a believer. He's the president of Bible Ministries International and one of the groups that provides content to Family Radio. So what do you believe is going to happen on May 21st?
I've heard this guy before.
Well, the Bible indicates there'll be a worldwide earthquake such as never happened on the planet before. And the destruction is simply unimaginable. The most crucial aspect of that day is that it's the end of salvation. The graves will open. Believers who have died will ascend into heaven with new bodies. The believers on earth will follow them immediately. And what will be left is 153 days of chaos and devastation that the world has never seen. On October 21st, God indicates that he will annihilate the entire universe and create a new heavens and a new earth.
Now, this is Harold Camping's prediction, and he has been wrong before. Based on his reading of the Bible, he originally prophesied the end of the world would come in 1994. So how do you know he's right this time?
Well, actually, it's not his prediction. This is information that's coming from the Bible. The prediction that was made in 1994 had a big question mark over it, and that is because Mr. Camping had done this only within the space of about 2 years, where he assembled the materials together and put it in a 500-plus page book. This is completely a different scenario because now we have much evidence from the Bible. And more than that, even if you put all the date aside for a minute, the Bible gives us not only the general time frame, but it also tells us that a number of things has to happen, and they have already been fulfilled.
What are some of those things that you say have already happened and point to this date?
Well, for one thing, the fact that Israel became a nation again in fulfillment of Matthew 24, it says, when you see the fig tree in leaf, know that it is near, even at the very doors. And that was 63 years ago, and that's coming up on May 14th in just a few short days. In 2 Thessalonians 2, it indicates that three things have to happen before the end occurs. One, there's a great falling away. Two, the identity of the Antichrist will be known. And three, the Antichrist will set up shop in all the churches and denominations worldwide and without exception.
Critics of this campaign say it's fear-mongering and a publicity stunt. What do you say to that?
The real importance of this date is that salvation is going to end. There will be no more hope of salvation come May 21st.
But we hear people say the billboards are up, but they also list websites where you can go and make donations and buy books, and this is a great stunt to raise money.
The idea of the website is to get information. It's not to make donations. That's something between an individual and God. As a publicity stunt, this would be ridiculous because not only is Family Radio putting its reputation and all its money on the line, but smaller organizations like ours are doing that, and it would be absolutely foolish to do that unless somebody felt that this was truly going to happen.
So,
nobody takes these kinds of risks.
So if Family Radio is taking this risk, then if this doesn't happen, if they're putting their reputation out there, if they are wrong, if Harold Camping is wrong again, tying his name to this, getting this $1 million project underway, what is going to happen to Family Radio? I mean, they're probably going to be sued. That's one of the main reasons I've really been so attached to this May 21st thing, is because if this guy is wrong, I really want to see him fall on his face. That's the satisfaction I'm looking for at the end.
All right, briefly, I'm aware of the time here. We're just a little over 2 weeks away from May 21st. Ooh. How are you feeling as that day approaches?
So scared.
Well, with great trepidation from one standpoint, because I have family and loved ones that do not know the Lord. And secondly, great joy because of what is going to happen.
I love that.
And so it's...
He's shitting you gotta know, some of these guys are shitting in their pants. Like oh God, in 2 weeks I'm either gonna go to heaven, or I'm gonna get left behind, or I'm gonna get sued.
It's a time of great sadness, but it's also a time of great joy. But at the same time, believers are told, they've been given a mandate to occupy, to continue spreading this message, to continue spreading the gospel right up until May 21st. And then it'll be too late.
Well, David Silverman has been listening in. He's the president of American Atheists, a group that's launched its own billboard campaign to counter family radios. As you listened to my conversation with Gunther Von Harringa, what was going through your head?
This is a terror cult. Yeah. This is a doomsday cult, just like all of the other doomsday cults before it. There have been hundreds that have been 100% right over the past 2,000 years. And no, I don't have a time machine, but somehow I think that if I went back to 1994, Mr. Camping wasn't saying maybe there would be a rapture. I think that he was saying there's definitely going to be a rapture. Do we really think that the world is going to end in 3 weeks because Israel was formed in 1946? Because
they would say, freedom of religion, freedom of expression. What harm are they actually causing by telling people to get prepared for May 21st? What bothers you so much about that?
People are quitting their jobs for this. People are leaving their lives for this. People are making fools out of themselves for this. And on May 24th, these people are going to wake up. It's going to be the same earth, and there's not going to be any sort of earthquake, any sort of massive earth-changing earthquake, and they're not going to have a job, and they're not going to have any money, and they're not going to have a life anymore.
So tell me about the competing billboards that you have put up. What do they say?
They say, it's nonsense, 2,000 years of any day now. And if you read the Bible, you can see that Jesus actually says that there is people who are sitting in front of him who will not die before the rapture comes. So the end times, the doomsday, the second coming, has been any day now since the time that the Bible was written, 2,000 years ago. And people have been coming up with these doomsday cults ever since then. And this is not the first or the fifth or the 10th doomsday cult that has used Israel as the formation of Israel as one of the key supporters of their times. This is unfortunately not real.
So if what we're hearing is so ludicrous, if you say we've heard about these doomsday cults over and over, it never pans out, why even bother acknowledging it? Why launch your own billboard campaigns? Why not just ignore it?
That's the problem, because they will keep coming up. And we as a society have to stop tolerating them under the guise of religious freedom. Yes, they have the constitutional right to do what they do, but that doesn't mean we as a society have to permit this to happen, because next year is 2012. And when the suckers from 2011 wake up on May 23rd, they're immediately going to look at the 2012 and say, oh, that must be the doomsday cult. The thing is, we have to raise awareness of doomsday cults in our society, and we have to stop them.
Well, Harold Camping isn't the only one who has predicted the end of the world, as we've heard. For some context, we're joined now by Harry Maier, a professor of New Testament and Early Christian Studies at Vancouver School of Theology. So how similar is Harold Camping's end of world prediction to others we've seen in the past?
Very similar. Probably the most famous example would be in the 19th century with a fellow named William Miller, who his followers predicted that the end of the world would come on October 22nd, 1832. Of course, it didn't, as we all know, and that then came to be known as the Great Disappointment. And on October 23rd, 1832, there were many people who were living in complete and total despair. Thousands of people had sold everything to expect the second coming of Jesus, which didn't happen.
I want you to listen to a quick clip from Todd Strandberg. He runs something called the Rapture Index, and he tracks, as you mentioned, everything from financial unrest to war to determine how close we're getting to the end.
Rapture Index is a category of 45 components that are related to Bible prophecy in some way. Some are direct related, and others are derivatives, like you have the Antichrist is one, then you have financial things which are more derivative. When it works is similar to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Anything below 100 we consider to be slow. Anything from 100 to 130 is considered moderate activity, and from 130 to 160 is heavy activity. 160 or higher is fasten your seatbelts. The Rapture Index right now is at 183.
183, so that's sky high. And if you look at world events recently, a prolonged economic recession, of course, a string of natural disasters, the Japan quake. So they're saying that this is all pointing to the impending end of the world.
The Rapture Index has been a website that's been up for some time now. And in any given year or any given month, the number goes up or the number goes down.
It's easy to dismiss some of these end-of-world predictions as being crazy, but is there a reason to pay attention?
I think that there's absolutely a reason to pay attention, not because we want to cancel our Victoria Long Day weekend plans, but because these kinds of ideas, while on the one hand can be sort of harmless, as Mr. Silverman suggests, they can actually be quite dangerous as well. 1990s, David Koresh, who was another apocalypticist, though he didn't believe in the rapture, he certainly did believe that there was a coming battle of Armageddon, and he convinced a number of people to hold themselves up in Waco, Texas, and of course that event happened with a great tragedy.
And we've heard other times people have committed suicide when the world actually didn't end as predicted.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. This way of thinking is an enormous incentive for folks to really give up everything in the hope of an expected future.
We see now, after listening to that episode of The Current, just how serious some people are about this whole end of the world thing. And they were asking also what people might do if May 21st comes and nothing happens. That these people, that they've been putting so much of their lives into this, some people might actually commit suicide. Have 15 days until we find out who the Antichrist is. It's sort of like waiting to see who won American Idol or America's Next Top Antichrist. So you know what I say?